Well, it is 7:01. I'm going to call the Fire Chief Search Committee meeting to order. Pursuant to Governor Baker's orders, we are meeting remotely. If you want to read more about that, it is available online on the town website. I'm going to start with attendance. Mark?
Present.
Evan?
Here.
Rick?
Here.
Bob?
Yeah.
Colleen here. All right, first up on the agenda is to meet with Badge Quest. We have Mr. Pomeroy joining us this evening, and it's just to kind of give us an update of where we are and what's the same and what's changing this time around.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I think the first thing we'd like to do is take a look at the job description, the job advertisement that we put out the last time. And Evan, if you could get that to everyone on the committee and seek their input if they want any additions, changes, edits. We got a decent response last time to the ad. So the goal would be to get an ad finalized, posted in the appropriate national and local venues. And we usually recommend a 30-day application period. And then after that, to meet with you folks and narrow it down to what we call the step 2 candidates. In other words, the candidate pool that will advance to the next step. And then send each of those candidates a series of narrative questions. Give them a week or so to respond to those narrative questions. Statistically, we usually lose about 15% of the people at that point because some people, will float their resume out there to see how marketable they are. And once they find out that they're marketable, they may withdraw from the process. Then the goal from there is to narrow the pool down to no more than 5 candidates, narrow the pool down and select a number of candidates for interviews. And then after the interviews with the committee, to narrow the pool down to a final group of no more than 5 candidates to attend an assessment center.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody have any questions with that so far?
Nope.
All right, so you just want to jump right in and start with the job description. Would that be helpful?
So if I could jump in, I think Bob is looking for us to review and give back to him an updated version of the job ad, which is in the Google Drive folder, which I'm happy to pull back up.
How did that job ad get developed the first time? It seems way too detailed and way too complicated. Was that job?
And
ad
it's not
developed?
very accurate, actually.
I'm sorry, Bob, I didn't hear what you said.
It needs to be tuned up. I mean,
Tuned up.
it says there's 2 call assistant chiefs. There is not that. There's only 3 captains, and they say 65 call firefighters. We don't have anywhere near 65 guys.
Okay, the way that was developed was I put together a template and inserted some information about the town and floated that draft ad by the committee who approved it before we posted it.
Yeah, we got to tune it up a little. That's all.
Yeah.
So, just go ahead, Colleen.
That is on the agenda for us to do tonight, but while we have Badge Quest here, were there any specific questions for them? I know we have to pay for the assessment center again. Is that still going to be the same cost as it was in the, okay, awesome. Do we still have to reimburse the $500 advertising fee, or is that,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
and are those the only 2 costs that we'll be looking at?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Does anybody have any questions along? I'm guessing that's where we should be tonight, correct? Okay.
That's right.
All right.
So-
Yes, Evan.
I'm sorry. So Bob, we'll redo the job ad, or we'll make some edits. We'll send a red line back to you, or what we think is our best case draft. After that, what should this group be focusing on?
What we need to do is to get the ad posted. And what I like to do is when the resumes and cover letters come into me, my goal, I think what works best is to forward them to you every Friday or every week, Evan.
Yep.
And then ask you to forward them to the committee. It's much better to do them on a weekly basis, a few at a time, than receiving 20 or 30 applications all at once and going through a pile. I think it makes it much easier for you. It makes it much easier for me. And that way we can really hit the ground running as soon as the application period closes.
Yep. And what I'll do is I'll create a candidate file in the Google Drive that I sent to everybody, and then I'll just separate it out week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, dump the candidates into those collective pots. And then we can review them out of there.
Okay.
Mr. Pomeroy, is there any active fire chief searches in the area that you know of?
No, I'm not aware of any. I know I'm not involved in any. I'm doing a police chief search right now. I just placed an interim police chief out of state, but there's no, we're not working on any fire chief searches right now in the area. Of course, I mean, it's a constant flux. So just with on the police side of the business, I think 100 police chiefs in Massachusetts have left this year. And I think, you know, the fire side, not quite as many, but quite a few people.
Okay.
Great.
Well, if nobody has any further questions, I thank you very much for coming in. You're more than welcome to stay if you'd like, but I understand if you have other things going on.
So just to get a clarification on that. So once we get that job description up to you, you'll put it out in the ad, and how long you think it takes?
I recommend 4 weeks.
4 weeks?
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
Hey, Rick, right now, Randolph, Natick, and Blackstone are looking for fire chiefs.
I thought I had heard about Blackstone. Well, Randolph and well, Natick's close enough, but Randolph's a
They're
distance
on the
out,
South
so-
Shore.
Yeah, so Blackstone, that's, I had heard about that one too. And I wouldn't doubt that some of the applicants would probably put their name in both and see what happens.
Oh, that's not uncommon, you know.
Right,
You know, sometimes we see candidates will have their names in 4 or 5 places if they're really seriously looking.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that covers that. We can move on to tweaking the job description if everybody's interested in doing that. And thank you again very much for coming in, and hopefully we get something to you really quick so that we can start advertising for the
As
position.
soon as you get it to me, I will post it, and I will send the links to Mr. Prasad if anyone wants to go on the internet and take a look at the ads.
Great,
Awesome.
All right,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much.
thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Bob.
So Evan, do you mind share screening the job description that was previously used? Because it sounds like
The job ad, correct?
job ad, yes,
Right.
I think.
And then I want to walk through that just a little bit because I wrote most of it and plugged the stuff in. So I think we got to clarify some things as well as to what the ad needs to show.
We never
I mean, it
go
was
into
all
that
based
anymore.
on feedback from the group, but let me share this out. Sorry, bear with me 1 sec. I got too many windows open here.
No problem.
Sorry, give me 1 sec. All right, can you see it now?
Yep.
Yep.
Can you zoom in just a little bit?
I can. Probably.
Top left says 100%. There you go.
I do not like Google. Better, or you want to go to 150?
That's wonderful right there.
Okay.
That work for everybody?
Yep.
Great. So the first, let's just go section by section, because I imagine everybody can have some notes that they brought with them, I'm hoping. Not just me. Okay, anyway. So the first section, does that look good for everybody? Great.
Yep.
The second section, I kind of noticed that currently there's a volunteer fire chief. That probably needs a little tweaking, as well as that's the section where Mr. Egan was mentioning earlier that it wasn't fully accurate. So I think we could just tweak this to fit Um,
Yeah, I mean, what it says here, there's a call deputy, which is true. We have a call deputy now. We have 3 call captains. And then, I don't know, do we want to put the 6 lieutenants and then probably, I'd have to do a head count. I don't know about you, Rick, but I'm thinking around something like 36 guys.
Yeah,
I
we
know
could
I-
get a definite number. We could get a definite number. I don't even know.
So one thing to keep
I
in
don't even
mind,
know if we have. Go ahead,
so
Evan.
it says in here, 2 call assistant chiefs, right?
That's no longer.
Right. It's no longer because why? Because the chief removed it?
Well, they retired and they never got reappointed.
Right. So does the position not exist or are they just vacant?
So with a strong chief, it eliminated the board of fire engineers, sort of.
Right, but
So
that doesn't eliminate assistant chiefs. That
Right,
just
so-
eliminates the board of fire engineers. So see what I'm saying?
Right,
Is what you want to try to do is we have to separate between the position is vacant and will never be filled, or there's just nobody, those positions don't exist anymore. So
Well,
do,
that-
right. So originally it would
They're
have been,
vacant now.
one.
What Evan's
from each
asking is,
section.
just because they're vacant, those positions exist and somebody may fill them. That's what you're asking, Evan, right?
right.
So within the fire structure right now, Captain, do you have, if the chief decided to appoint 2 assistant chiefs, can he do it?
Sure.
Yeah, yes, he could do it. He's a strong
So the
chief.
infrastructure of the department calls for 2 assistant chiefs, and I think that's what Evan is asking.
Right. So did we change the structure of the fire department such that, we're not going to have assistant chiefs anymore? We have a chief and a deputy chief and then captains. So is that the structure of the department moving forward? Or did those 2 people just leave and nobody ever filled their position?
Correct. So that's how, so originally we had a assistant chief from each section of town to go directly to the scene ahead of the fire apparatus, because our guys are on call and there is a delay. And that's the way that worked. And that just got, as they retired, they never got replaced. And I know that had to do somewhat to do with Tim McInerney, making Mickey more like a strong chief when it really wasn't. So, yeah, you're right. The new chief coming in could, or even Paul could appoint deputy chiefs. We had decided that the 3 captains would respond to the scene if necessary, if someone else didn't sign on, only for the interim of once Mickey retired.
Can I ask a
But
question?
it's not etched in stone.
Would it be better to just scratch it all then? If it's gonna cause this much confusion, is it helpful to say, this is just a description, it's just giving you an idea of what Grafton is. Right now, we have an interim chief. I don't know if he's still been with over 40 years, and then skip right to, there are 3 stations in Grafton and the town is a member of the regional ambulance service, and just scratch all that, because as the chief comes in, he can determine the structure, or she, however they feel is necessary, correct?
Yeah, I just think because the word says currently, so the numbers were wrong because it said currently. And that's the only reason that it stood out, that currently we don't have that. That was the problem.
Gotcha. Okay.
How long has the interim chief served on the department?
Since
Uh,
January 1.
20 days.
No, served on the department total.
Oh,
Paul's probably
Wow.
pushing close to 40 years, I
All right,
bet.
so that's good. So 40 years is good. So I agree with Colleen. I think
Yeah.
I think you do need to put in there that there's other full-time and administrative personnel. So I'd say there are approximately 37 call firefighters, is how I would say that.
okay. To get
Yeah,
rid
I
of
would
all
agree.
the,
Approximately is the right word.
Well, if you count the 3 captains and all the officers and the guys, it's probably closer to about 40, 45 guys.
All right, so say there are approximately 40 call firefighters, and I think that does the trick.
okay.
And take out, where did I see that? Personal engineering, there are 3. Over 40 years, the new fire chief full-time. Yeah, about
Got to put in the word approximately in front of the word 40.
approximately,
You
right.
getting there?
I mean, I mean, we can get a hard number for you. It's not that hard. We can,
No, I think saying approximately is fine, because it
Approximately is good.
fluctuates.
Anybody that wants to be a chief doesn't need to know that it's 41 versus 40. They're gonna still
Right.
apply, you know?
All right, does everybody feel comfortable with this section now, how it's read?
I would take out the word about before approximately.
Yep, thank you.
do we want to put in there that there is one full-time captain / inspector?
I think one full-time employee and one part-time administrative personnel is fine.
Well, that's there's one full-time administrator, secretary, whatever you want to call it, and then there's a full-time captain inspector.
Yeah, right. This was, at
Also,
the
it's
time,
full-time administrative now?
no, it's always full-time. There was a full-time and a part-time administrator.
Oh,
Full-timer retired, part-timer retired. We replaced it with just one full-timer. So
Okay.
there is one full-time administrative assistant.
so I apologize, Rick. Yeah, you should probably put in if there's other full-time fire personnel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so the new
that's-
I would add,
Yeah.
I agree
Full-time
with that.
inspector.
I would agree with that.
Okay, let me get there.
I don't think you have to give his rank in this as
No.
captain. That was a rank for when he deals with the public. So I don't think you have to put the rank of captain. You just have to say we have one full-time fire inspector.
Perfect.
That's good. That's very good now.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody's happy with that. We'll move down to the next section. Nothing jumped out at me, but
Well, I got a question. How does the may consult with the town administrator? There's no relationship other than may consult?
So not in the MGL, right? The MGL makes them responsible only to the select board.
I'm sorry, I'm just confusing my job where I have day-to-day oversight of the fire chief, even though he's a strong fire chief and I do his review annually. That's not the case with you?
No, they would have to update the charter, I believe, to make that.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry.
Nope,
I
that's-
just don't, I don't may consult. I don't know if I like that.
Why, we just put consults with.
And consults with the
administrator?
town administrator on policy issues.
Okay.
Take out the word may, I think.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yep. Whoever, when that was put together, that was a mistake too, because that was our intention. Our intention was that they would report to the town administrator, but he's not appointed by the town administrator. He's
No, it's
appointed by.
definitely under the law, strong chiefs appointed by the select board. That's correct.
Right.
Are we good on
So
that section?
That has to
Yeah,
change.
looks good.
The fire chief is appointed.
The fire chief is appointed by the. I gotta change this thing, right?
Yeah,
Select
is appointed by the select board.
Select board, yep.
do you want to change that direction of select board rather than the board of selectmen?
Yep.
And Evan, I know this is really picky, but can we put the word the in front of
Yep.
fire chief?
Yeah, I was just about to hit it and then Colleen, sent me in a different direction.
That's what I do. I apologize.
I know. Hi, Caroline.
Ooh, you gotta share it.
Hi.
That's good.
And qualifications is fine.
I think the qualifications are fine as well.
And then experience.
Let me just scroll down a little bit and, oh, sorry, damn, that's what I was worried about happening. It was gonna jump on me. There we go.
Experience. I like that.
So that's how the Connecticut chief from before got in, because it said it's strongly preferred, but it's not mandatory, right?
Right.
Okay, that's good then.
Yeah, and I think you want, yeah, I think you want to leave it a little loose. We don't want to call out somebody that may have great experience that we might really like to see because they don't have.
Can I ask Rick and Bob a question? These special requirements,
Yeah.
do we really need to put all that in the ad? That's the part that I was confused about.
Well,
I mean,
I
a
think we're
fire chief,
getting-
if they're a certified fire chief somewhere, I mean, we're gonna know what their experience is and we're gonna know what their, I'm hoping that they've been a fire chief before. Or at least a
Well, I
captain
don't-
or a deputy.
I don't
Not
think
necessarily.
we want to limit ourselves to just a fire chief. I mean, there
And
could
I
be,
understand. I misspoke, but all this other stuff in here, do we really need all that special requirements?
well, I mean, like the EMT and ALS preferred, I think
That needs to, I think that should come out, right?
yeah, I mean, we don't, he
We
doesn't
don't run
have
an
to be,
ambulance service.
No, that was
Right.
something that shouldn't have been left in last time. I do remember that.
What about a Massachusetts driver's license? If we have
Oh, yeah.
somebody coming from Rhode Island, let's say, and
well,
they
I
might
think
move in
the-
the next 12 months, is it reasonable to expect that they might be able to get this in the next 12
maybe
months?
we should cross out
Ability-
Massachusetts and just
ability
say
to
valid
obtain-
driver's license.
Ability to obtain, I like that.
Can we just jump back up top to the previous one before that? A master's degree, I think if we read in other areas that it was it was obtainable, or it wasn't really said that they had to have the master's degree.
Yeah,
Um,
and sorry, Rick, I don't want to interrupt, but this doesn't say that either. So this just says if you have a master's degree, prior experience with a paid call fire department or a combination of full-time call department is positively considered.
So it's
If
like
you
the
have
other-
it, bonus is basically what that
like the other
means.
statement.
Yep.
And just getting back to Mark, you're not necessarily going to get just a fire chief either. Chiefs to
No.
jump from place to place, because there's a lot of call departments that have deputies or assistants or captains that are just doing the job. They just don't have an older chief in front of them that's going to retire anytime soon, and they may have all the qualifications and they want to be a chief somewhere. So it's very possible that we get a assistant chief or a deputy or even a captain that's been there a long time.
That makes sense. But these requirements line by line, are any of these asking too much of the potential candidate pool where we might want to reduce it? I don't know what an IS 800, 700, 400 is. So it puts me at a deficit asking this. I apologize, but I don't know what that means. So I don't know if we're asking too much. Is an IS 400, suitable?
I kind of agree with Mark on, that this stuff's
Yeah, I
going to
don't-
be in the resumes, it's going to be in their resumes, and if they don't have certain things that we want, it doesn't eliminate anybody. It doesn't, say that, oh, you don't have that, so, and this guy does. And that
I
kind of
would
stuff.
take all those special I agree, Rick. I think we should take all those special requirements out.
Right.
So can I play devil's advocate for just a sec? Do we want to take them out, or do we want to change the title from special requirements to, preferred trainings, you would like to see candidates that have these, or do you want to just take it out altogether?
Well, Rick said something really smart there, and it's like, they're gonna have a resume, they're gonna have the designations, and then when they do the assessment, all this stuff is gonna come out. If we push them off to the assessment center, or we can ask during the interviews, what are your credentials? What have you done? Have you passed this fire chief designation, fire officer designation? What's your experience as a mass fire prevention officer? How is all that done? I think that's part of the interview process. I think this just clutters up the ad a little bit, and people will look at that and say, well, geez, I don't have fire instructor 2, I can't apply. And you might lose out on a good candidate.
Yeah,
I'm
because
just concerned that that's just too restrictive, I guess is what
because
I'm saying.
even within this pandemic, a lot of these classes haven't been available for some of these guys that
No.
that they're signed up for it. They're trying to get in and they haven't finished them, or they haven't been able to get them. So like Mark said, if it's in the resume, or it's I'm pursuing, or I'm signed, I'm going towards this degree, or I'm going towards this certification, and that's good too.
I would
No, I agree.
definitely,
I think it scares some candidates away that we'd probably throw out, some of them too and say, no, he doesn't have enough, but I think this scares some guys from even putting it in because I don't have that.
That's my,
And I don't know
Rick,
when
I agree with you 100%.
So if an applicant applies that doesn't have fire officer training, are we going to consider them?
I think it depends on their overall experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
I just want to have
definitely-
the ability I just want to have the ability to get a pool of candidates. We can go through the thing. They'll have on their resumes what certifications they have. And then we can make a determination at that point. But this might scare some people away saying, well, God, I don't have fire instructor 2 or fire inspector 2. I can't apply.
can we do a combination of this? Can we change it to preferred credentials and tailor it down to like 3 must-haves that we want to see on here? Because I think if we remove it all together, we might get a net that's way too wide. And now we're whittling through candidates that had we just said just a bare minimum of stuff, we wouldn't be combing through, but at the same time, not too specific where people aren't applying because you're right, I don't have this, I don't have that. The ability to obtain a mass driver's license. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know what these other ones are to know which ones are must-haves and which ones are nice-to-haves. Can we keep the must-haves?
Well, let me ask Evan a question here. Or Rick or Bob, anybody here, would a deputy chief or a captain have a mass fire chief credential or CPSC chief fire officer designation?
not necessarily.
All right, so what if there's a rock star captain, a deputy out there? He'll look at this and say, shoot, I don't have that. I can't apply. Will that limit? I think that sort of limits the pool a little bit.
But
Or just
so
call the whole thing ability to obtain and then list all of these things.
I mean, I know deputies and captains that have gone through the chief's class at Stowe because they want to be a
Right.
fire chief, right? That's part of their,
Correct.
that's part of how they work their way up that ladder, make themselves desirable to be a chief somewhere. So my concern with removing it all is that we get every, Tom, Dick and Harry that wants to be a fire chief. Personally, I would lean towards getting rid of the terms special requirements to preferred credentials and picking our top 3. But if the group leans towards deleting it all together, I don't think it's catastrophic.
All right, let's just take a straw poll. Mark, do you want to whittle it down or get rid of it altogether?
Well, my initial reaction was get rid of it altogether, but listening to what Evan is saying, if we can whittle it down and title it the way Evan suggested, then I'm fine. But
Okay.
putting that NFPA 1720, IS 800, 700, 400, I mean, I don't think we need to put that stuff in there, but maybe you want to say they're a fire officer 4, or hopefully they've gone through the credential. Now, my understanding too, Evan, is.
Wait, hold on, Mark. Let me just ask the other people real quick.
Okay,
Before
sorry.
so Bob, are you in favor of getting rid of it altogether or whittled down?
I'm thinking more whittling it down.
Okay, Rick, same whittled down or getting rid of it
Whittled down.
altogether? All right, so we're all on the same page. Let's rename it to preferred credentials and lock in on the top 3. And Mark, I'm gonna let you go back into it again.
I'm sorry, Colin, I didn't mean to jump the gun there.
It's all right.
My understanding too, when you have a new fire chief, the Mass Fire Chiefs Association assigns a senior fire chief to work with the new chief, right? Is that,
We've never had a full-time chief, so
I know.
I don't know.
that's
New
my
territory for us.
understanding, because that's what
That's
happened when I
That's
hired.
very possible. So
Yeah,
this
well,
this
when
will
we
be our
hired
first
our
full-time
chief-
for us.
Yeah, when we hired our chief in Groton, he was a deputy in another town and he became our fire chief. And the Mass Chiefs Association, they assigned a mentor that worked with him. And he was able to go talk to that person and help them. And a lot of this stuff will be, will come out during that process as well. So just something to think about. But I like preferred credentials, and getting rid of some of this other stuff is fine.
So fire inspector and instructor 2, can we ditch those or are they necessary?
I think it should say preferred credentials and under that, ability to obtain, and then Massachusetts, the rest of them, all of them are ability to obtain, because, we want them to get that. Even if within the first 3 years, we want them to get that stuff, that we want them to be able to go for it. If they already have some of it, great.
So that's something the select board can do and set the candidate goals once they're hired. But I thought we all just agreed on whittling the list down.
Yeah. I'm thinking, the first three on the top to me would be the ones. I mean, the fire instructor and fire inspector, that's something that they should try to obtain.
Okay.
But we already have a full-time inspector. Instructor.
I agree.
We're
Let's
all
just
basically
let's just go with the
instructors.
top three and get rid of everything else.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Isn't
Go ahead.
NFPA 1720 pretty much a standard fire chief training for, I can't remember what it is. It's like fire suppression,
Yeah.
special operations, blah, blah,
Well,
blah.
yeah, that might be the one to keep, actually, now that you mentioned that, Evan.
But that already looks a lot more appealing, right? That's like, oh, all right, I can achieve this, or I have achieved this, right? Are people comfortable with this?
Yeah,
Rick had made a comment, preferred credentials / ability to obtain.
Or,
What's the,
you're right, / ability to attain, or
What's
just
everybody's-
right
what's
underneath,
everybody's-
just move Massachusetts Class D underneath in their all ability to attain. Instead of putting ability to attain under each one.
yeah, I'd put it up here.
Right?
Um,
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean.
So
sounds
Evan,
good.
to answer your question, the NFPA 1720 is a standard that specifies requirements for effective and efficient organization and deployment of fire suppression operations, emergency medical operations, and special operations to the public by volunteer and combination fire departments to protect citizens and the occupational safety and health of fire department employees. So it's a standard that I think all call chiefs would have to have, or full-time chiefs would have to have with a call department. I'm gonna guess. So
Yeah.
you might as well leave that in there.
Okay.
I like that. I just like the way it looks better. I think it's less scary.
That was my concern, so I'm glad we did this.
Okay. So we're all in agreement on this. We can move right past this onto the
Yep.
successful candidate. We'll move within the next 12 months. I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Well, let me
Salary
ask it. I'm sorry, Colleen, I'm sorry to be a pain here, but
or not, you're
isn't there
fine.
a state law that requires firefighters and police officers to live X amount of miles from the border?
I don't think it's a state law, but a lot of towns require a certain distance from,
Yeah, a lot of towns will say 15 miles from the border or so on and so forth. So we discussed this the last time around, and part of the conversation was the select board can set that, but hasn't. And so that it really was something to be set by the select board, which I think Colleen disagree with me if I'm incorrect, but I think the select board stance was that they would leave it open until they got candidates and then they could negotiate.
That's 100% correct. We wanted to cast a really wide net, knowing that candidates could be coming from out of state, but with the intention of moving here. And,
Yep.
that's something that could come up through the interview process.
Thank you.
One of the and just not to beat a dead horse, one of the things was that Bob Pomeroy had said is, if you put in here 15 miles from the border, what happens if the person's 17 miles from the border?
Right.
Are we not going
Right.
to talk to them? Well, probably not. No, we want to talk to those people. So he's like, just leave it open, and
Okay.
you can whittle it down after.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that they're within, they can get here in a timely fashion, to get here an hour after the call comes in, we pretty much got it out. It's like, yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
It's like, we're going from a call chief that lived in town all these years, we're going and call firefighters that live in town, and we're going to a outside chief who's going to work 8 to 5, whatever it may be, and out of town after that, and then it's got to be able to communicate and respond. So I think that's the best way to leave it. Like you don't want to eliminate somebody that's, like you said, 20 miles out.
Right.
Awesome.
Salary range. Where does everyone want to see this go?
I want to see it higher than 130. I want to see it in the 140, 150 range. Evan, did your salary survey come back?
No, I'm very angry.
Oh, didn't mean to.
It's
didn't mean
not,
to
it's
poke the
not, it's
bear.
not, it's not going well.
Our subject.
I'm pretty irritated, but anyways, long story short, no, I don't have it. I budgeted I put into the budget as a placeholder 150.
I
was
think
gonna
it's
say-
salary range of 130 to 150.
Yeah,
Or
because
130 to 145,
if you
something
get a
like that.
captain, if you get a captain or an assistant or something like that, and they get the qualifications and we really like them and we think they're gung ho, you don't want to give them 150. You want to get them in, you want to make them earn it and bring their up. But if you get a chief, he's leaving for some other reasons because he's already making that. He's already making 150, 150. I looked around, Ashland 153, Hopkinton 154, something like that. I mean, these guys are pretty much already up there. So they're not going to jump ship for the same money or less unless they got problems.
I mean, Grafton's pretty great, so why wouldn't you come here?
That's right.
But I think 130 to 145 and putting it in that way is strong, or maybe even 135 to 145 to look that we're serious about moving the dial.
I like 135 to 145, if that's okay.
Yeah, same.
I can live with that.
Okay.
All right. A conditional offer of employment would be subject to a thorough background investigation. Is there any language we want to put in there, like, please don't quit after we offer you the job?
It's common, but it's not as common as some people made it sound to be.
Hmm. All right. So, and everything else is right. The applicant's resume must specify all of that. Everything else, there's nothing that stands out to anybody as a whoops, we should have grabbed that.
No, I like this ad. I like this ad a lot better now. I think it looks really,
Just
really
that
good.
date's going to change from Badge Quest whenever they're
Right.
ready to change that date.
I'll let Badge Quest they can,
Put that date in.
yeah, when they get, when it's gonna get that.
I just don't want to see it go out with the wrong date on it. And then the applicant resume must be satisfy all experience as
highlight
part-time call volunteer. That's good.
Perfect. All right, so if that's all Badge Quest needs from us, do we need to vote on this? Take a motion and agree that this is it and have Evan the authority to send it out to Badge Quest?
You're the chair.
All right, sure. I'll accept a motion to accept this ad.
Hold on one second. There's a chat comment here that says the scope of NFPA 1720 sets minimum requirements relating to the organization and deployment of suppressions. It should be taken out as it's not a qualification. It's a fair point.
Okay. That's beyond my scope of knowledge, so I'm fine with taking it out. What are you,
Because
fire?
the title says qualifications, right? Can
Yeah.
you go back up a little bit, Evan? Can you pull it back down?
Yep. I can go back up.
Yeah, like he's saying, it's not a qualification. It's not really a credential. I have no problem taking it out.
Yeah, me neither.
Don't really understand what it is, so it can stay or go as long as everybody's happy.
Yeah, take it out.
Take
Okay.
it out, and then before we vote, if we can just I just want to reread about the town, about what we have currently.
Yep.
Just to
Let me
make
go up.
sure that,
Sure.
yeah.
It's mostly
More,
this
yeah.
paragraph, I think, right?
No, yeah, the town of Grafton operates. That's the one I want to just reread one more time. Got some spacing issues there.
Oh,
you
take
know
out
what
the
we oughta
words who
do?
will be retiring. Paul's not retiring, is he?
No.
So I take out the words who will be retiring.
Well,
Yes.
Yeah, that was when we had,
Mickey,
Yep.
Mickey was still here.
Got it.
And also, we list Grafton Fire Department as one of the largest paid all-call departments in the state. Maybe that was years ago, but it's not anymore. I mean, you might want to
Well,
tone
there
that
ain't too
down a
many
little.
more- there ain't too many all-call fire departments left in the state.
Well, there is. You go down towards the Cape, there's a bunch of big ones. Dartmouth, Carver. I don't know. It's just my thought.
Do you serve in the fire department or on the fire department?
On.
Okay, so the,
On,
the whole,
On.
currently, there is an interim fire chief who has served on, but it says in, the fire department for over
Yeah.
40 years. Do we want to include the fact that somebody retired? I just don't want anyone to read this and think maybe they're taking some guy's spot that wants it, because it's not the case, but also I don't want to go down a rabbit hole either on this. So if everybody's happy with that language, I'm good with it.
No, that's all right.
Okay,
What I would say too is, why don't we just say the Grafton Fire Department is a paid all-call department?
Yes, I agree.
Take out the
We're
S
not-
on department.
we're not,
Yep, I'll get there.
Perfect.
we're not all call anymore.
And then if you're worried about that, Colleen, I could go with, currently there is an interim fire chief who has served in the department for over 40 years, who is filling, or who has replaced forget it, never mind. You're
What
right.
if we did, what if you put in here, there's a interim fire chief who has served on the department for over 40 years, who is not applying for the full-time position.
yeah,
That's exactly beautiful. Or who's not a candidate for the full-time position.
Well, I just thought if we put not a candidate, it
No.
makes it sound like we might not want him.
Oh,
Right.
I
I
got
like
you.
not
You're right. You're right. You're right.
applying,
You're right.
yeah.
Sorry. That's great, Evan.
Okay.
okay,
Now, you had mentioned something about, mentioning the former chief serving the town for 49 years. I mean, that says a lot for the town of Grafton. I mean, there's not a lot of departments that have that. And I think that anybody that doesn't know town of Grafton that might be applying, that says something about the department and the town, that you have a fire chief that served this town for 49 years in almost every role we had. I don't know if that should be in there somewhere. It wasn't
Did I freeze
before
it
we
or did
changed it to,
oh no.
I think everybody.
I
froze
just think,
there.
and the town of Grafton.
I kind of just froze there. I don't know about everybody else.
I did
I
too.
no, I did too. I don't think we need to get into the previous chief.
No,
Okay.
I'd leave it. I think that paragraph is perfect as written right now.
It'll
You
come
still
out
got-
it'll come out organically, Rick. It will. It won't be
You got a
a secret.
couple, you got a couple spacing issues there. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
40 call firefighters. and
No, Google doesn't recognize call firefighters. It wants it to just say 40 firefighters.
Okay,
So that's all it's doing.
all right. I like that now.
All right.
You really have anger issues towards Google, Evan.
I hate it. I hate it. Ugh.
All right.
I
Well,
make a motion, we adopt the ad as presented.
second,
all right, motion made second. Any discussion on the ad? All those in favor, Mark,
Aye.
Bob,
aye,
Rick,
All right.
Evan,
Aye.
Colleen, aye. All right, so we will have Evan send this off to Badge Quest and it'll get posted right away. We don't really need to meet again now for the next 30 days or 45 days, essentially, correct?
Yeah, because Badge Quest is going to post it. I'll be putting stuff up in the Google Drive as it comes back from Badge Quest.
Okay, so do you
the
guys
only-
want to? Yeah,
No, sorry.
go for it.
Sorry. No, I was going to say something that has no point. So I withdraw my talking.
Okay. So, I mean, the earliest I could imagine it going up is next week, right? Between communication and everybody getting with it. I don't see it going up tomorrow, for example, right?
All right.
So giving out 4 weeks for that, we're looking, end of February, early March. Where do you guys want to go with that? Do you want to meet maybe February 24th? And then at least 4 weeks will have passed, whether or not the deadline, it'll be close to that, but we will have been reviewing along the way and things.
oh.
like that.
Can I butt in one time? Evan, can you put those emails back up?
Yeah, I gotta write down Bob's email, because I clearly don't have.
I
it.
see where it went wrong. You have BEAGAN.
Okay,
It's BEGAN. There's no A.
okay, no A. I typed it in the first time wrong. I have it in my thing both ways, but I grabbed the wrong one each time. I apologize for
Well,
that.
that's
That's
why
all
he's
right.
not getting any information from us.
That's
People-
right.
People do that all the time.
And I don't, Evan, I think you have to correct yours maybe because I don't think
yeah,
you got your folder.
I'm doing it right now.
I forwarded him the folder, and he was able to open it, so he should be all right, but I think you have his wrong one.
Yeah, I'm retyping it here and then I'll delete the other one.
Yeah, there you go. That's the right one.
So just for a procedural question, because I'm not clear, the next time we meet, it would be an executive session, correct? Because we'll be discussing,
Once we start looking at resumes, absolutely an executive session.
okay, so I'll get that posted. And everybody's in agreement, February 24th is the next day.
Sure.
Okay,
Works for me.
all right. So we got a lot done. So strategy for advertising the position that was on here, but basically we're just chucking it over to Badge Quest. They're gonna get it up as fast as possible. And then approve meeting minutes from our first meeting. I can take a motion to approve that unless anybody had any.
So
edits.
moved.
Yep.
Was that a second?
Yes.
Okay,
second.
motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Mark,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Evan?
Yes, aye, sorry.
Aye. Okay, perfect. So that's approved. I'll send it off to the town clerk and we've done our meeting minutes, so I can take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, Mark,
Yes.
Rick,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Evan?
Aye.
Aye. All right, have a good night, everybody. I'll see you guys in a month.
Okay. See you later.